Hello everyone. Today we are diving into one of the most enduring and distorted mysteries in all of ancient Chinese history. Did Xiang, the brutal conqueror who toppled the Qin dynasty, actually burn the imperial capital of Xianyang and the mausoleum of Qin Huang, the first emperor of China? For more than 2,000 years, popular legend, poetic drama, and even partial historical accounts have painted Xiang as a vengeful warlord who unleashed a 3-month inferno that turned China's greatest imperial city and the world-famous Qin Mausoleum into smoldering ash. But what does strict historical accuracy, rooted in the records of the Grand Historian by Sima Qian, and decades of cutting-edge archaeological excavation, actually tell us? This is not a story of romantic tragedy or simple villainy. It is a chilling tale of political vengeance, cultural destruction, and a massive historical misinformation campaign that has fooled the world for 2 millennia. Let us step back to 206 BCE. A moment when the once unstoppable Qin Empire lay in ruins, its armies shattered at the Battle of Julu, its capital, defenseless against the hordes of Chu rebels led by Xiang. To understand the truth, we must first dismantle the most persistent myth of all that Xiang burned the Epang Palace, the legendary Palace of Eternal Peace, described in Tang poetry as a colossal masterpiece of Qing architecture. For centuries, Du Mu's iconic line, "A single torch from the Chu man turned it all to scorched earth," has seared this lie into global historical memory. But here is the unassailable archaeological fact: the Epang Palace was never completed. Between 2002 and 2007, the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences conducted a full-scale excavation of the Epang Palace site, and their published report is definitive. The site contains only the rammed earth foundation of the front hall. No complete palace structures, no wooden beams, no tiled roofs, no ornate Qin-era architectural components exist there. Most critically, there are 0 layers of burnt earth, charcoal, or ash across the entire site, no evidence of any large-scale fire whatsoever. The Qing court halted construction on Epang Palace shortly after Qin Shi Huang's death, as laborers were diverted to finish the Qin Mausoleum and quell widespread uprisings across the empire. Xiang would have had no reason to march across the Wei River to burn an unfinished construction site. This myth is pure literary embellishment, not history. Now let us turn to the verifiable truth about Xianyang. Sima Qian's records of the Grand Historian, the most authoritative source on Qin and early Han history, states clearly in the basic annals of Xiang, after several days, Xiang led his troops west to slaughter Xianyang, put the surrendered Qin Ziying to death, burned the Qin palaces, and the fire lasted for 3 months. He seized treasure and women and marched east. This is not vague or allegorical. It is a precise contemporary, derived account of a deliberate war crime. Archaeological work at the Xianyang Palace site, the true political heart of the Qin Empire, built by Duke Xiao during the Xianyang reforms and expanded for 140 years, confirms this beyond doubt. Excavations reveal thick layers of red burnt soil, charcoal deposits, and collapsed charred wooden beams across the palace complex. These are the physical scars of a 3-month fire that destroyed the central command center of the Qin dynasty, along with countless, irreplaceable artifacts, imperial archives, 6 nation classics, legal texts, bronze ritual vessels, and art that represented the pinnacle of pre-Han Chinese civilization. This was not random destruction. It was a calculated political statement. Xiang sought to erase every symbol of Qin authority, to punish the Qin royal house for generations of brutality against the Chu people, and to assert his dominance as the conqueror of China. The fire was a weapon of terror, a message to all warlords that the old order was gone forever. The second half of our mystery is even more explosive. Did Xiang burn the Qin Mausoleum, the eternal resting place of Qin Shi Huang? Once again, we must split fact from fiction, using both texts and archaeology. In the basic annals of Gaozu, Liu Bang, Sima Qian, records Liu Bang publicly accusing Xiang of 4 high crimes: burning Qin palaces, excavating the first emperor's mausoleum, stealing its treasures, and committing atrocities against the people. Later texts, like the commentary on the Water Classic, amplified this claim, alleging that 300,000 of Xiang men looted the mausoleum for 30 days and set it ablaze. For 2,000 years, this accusation stuck, but modern archaeology has completely upended this narrative. Let us break this down into 2 distinct parts: the above-ground structures and the underground palace, the sealed heart of the mausoleum. First, the above-ground buildings and terracotta army pits. Archaeologists have found extensive burnt remains, charred tiles, and collapsed wooden structures across the Qin mausoleums, above-ground ceremonial complexes, including the sacrificial halls, gate towers, and surrounding offices. The terracotta army pits tell an even clearer story. In Pit 1, wooden support beams are reduced to charcoal, terracotta warriors are shattered weapons, and chariot parts are stolen, and many figures show severe fire damage with melted surfaces and disfigured features. This confirms that Xiang Yu's forces did enter the mausoleum compound, loot visible treasures, and set fire to the surface buildings and the terracotta army pits. This was an act of symbolic destruction, targeting the public face of Qin Shi Huang's imperial legacy. But this is not the same as burning or looting the underground mausoleum itself. Now, the definitive truth about the underground palace: it remains 100% intact, and Xiang Yu never set foot inside it. Decades of remote sensing, core, drilling, and mercury testing by the Qin Shi Huang Mausoleum Museum have produced irrefutable evidence. The Fengtu sealed earthen mound is structurally undisturbed, with no large-scale excavation holes or collapse. Most importantly, mercury detection tests show that the central area of the mound has a mercury concentration more than 30 times higher than surrounding soil, matching Sima Qian's description of mercury used to simulate rivers and seas within the tomb. If the underground palace had been breached, burned, or looted, the mercury would have evaporated long ago, leaving no trace. The few small Daodong robber tunnels found near the mound are less than 9 meters deep, nowhere near the 15 meter depth of the underground palace. And they do not penetrate the thick rammed earth and green clay defensive layers. Xiang Yu's army simply lacked the time, tools, and ability to break through the mausoleum's fortifications. They destroyed what they could see and left the core untouched. The claim that Xiang Yu burned the Qin Mausoleum is a half-truth twisted into a full lie, a political smear by Liu Bang, who used moral accusations to delegitimize his rival during the Chu-Han contention. We must also grasp the human and historical cost of Xiang Yu's arson in Xianyang. This was not just a fire. It was an unprecedented cultural catastrophe. The Qin had centralized all written knowledge of the 6 conquered states, histories, poetry, philosophy, cartography, and technical texts, in the imperial libraries of Xianyang Palace. When Xiang Yu's fire raged for 3 months, these unique documents burned to ash, erasing entire chapters of pre-Qin Chinese history. Countless bronze artifacts, jade carvings, and architectural masterpieces were destroyed. The Qin capital, one of the largest and most advanced cities in the ancient world, was reduced to ruins. Xiang Yu's decision to burn Xianyang was a fatal political mistake. As well, advisors urged him to occupy Guangzhou, the fertile, strategically impregnable heartland of China, to build his own empire. But his hatred for the Qin blinded him. He chose vengeance over empire, burned his chance to rule, and marched east with his loot, declaring to be rich and noble, and not return home is like walking in fine clothes at night. Who will see it? This choice doomed his reign and opened the door for Liu Bang to found the Han Dynasty, one of China's greatest golden ages. What makes this story so vital is how it exposes the danger of confusing literature with history. Du Mu's Ode to Epang Palace is a masterpiece of Tang poetry, but it is not a historical document. It was written to criticize imperial excess, not to record Qin-era facts. Over centuries, this poetic myth merged with partial historical accounts to create a false narrative that erased the real victim, Xianyang Palace, and the irreplaceable culture it held. Archaeology has given us the power to correct this injustice, to restore the true record of what happened in 206 BCE. Xiang Yu was not a monster who burned every Qin structure. He was a ruthless, vengeful warlord who committed a targeted, politically motivated arson attack on Xianyang Palace, looted and burned the surface of the Qin Mausoleum, and left the underground tomb completely untouched. He did not burn Epang Palace because there was no Epang Palace to burn. If you enjoyed this journey into ancient China, hit like, drop a comment, and subscribe for more epic history. See you next time.